Alrighty, so it's time to do a quick review of the game that just finished a couple of minutes ago, which was LAFC versus DC United. And in the end, in a game where we expect LAFC to get all 3 points against the worst team in the league, they did exactly that, though it was definitely not easy, because you got to give a lot of credit to how DC United play in this one. They play very hard in this game, and in some way, this was probably the best performance, if not one of the best performance that we've seen them play this season, and definitely the best performance we have seen a team play that unfortunately end up on the losing side, as they really went toe to toe with LAFC for the majority of the game and even had a couple of chances to even steal this one away from LAFC. But early on, in the 5th minute, it was actually Crepeau that made the first save in this one, as he denied Hopkins from close range. And again, DC have done well for most part of the beginning of this game, defending in a good low block, and LAFC once again look a step off on the attacking end. But despite saying that, it's still early in the game, because then this was the kind of the same thing we've seen in the game between them and Charlotte FC, and we know how Charlotte FC went in terms of how they play in the second half, where they just completely fall apart. And that, early on, despite DC looking good, I wonder, is that going to last for a majority of this game? Now, in the 21st minute, Rodriguez did blast high from long range before the shots were 4-2 in favor of DC, and there was only one shot on goal up to that point, and it belonged to DC United. Though soon it would be 2 shots on goal for DC United, as Crepeau once again had to make a save here, this time denying Birnbaum from the corner, and that was a good chance too, because Birnbaum actually hits that one well, but Crepeau with a great save to deny him there. And then Paulson had a chance on the follow-up, but he puts that one high. And again, DC getting chances in this game, but as it is the case whenever a team play against a superior team, you have to put away your chances. And you just wondered these missed chances that DC was getting, which you know that they're not going to get a lot against LAFC. Is that going to come back to haunt them? In the 32nd minute, Brian Rodriguez hits the side netting from close range. I mean, I think LAFC fans' patience on Brian Rodriguez is definitely venting, because it has been a rough season for him, and that it's getting to a point where, he's been a very inconsistent player for LAFC during his time with this team, where there's been times where he has looked very good, and it seems like he's on verge of potentially sell to a European team, and then this season happened where he has started to look like the Brian Rodriguez that we saw when he first come to LAFC. Very, very, very underwhelming, and just not really much production on the attacking end as what they thought that they would get from him when they, of course, bought him a couple of years ago. Now, one player that is not underwhelming is Chicharango, and believe it or not, I think this is the first game in a while since Chicharango was kept off the score sheet. Or actually, I might be wrong though. Didn't he? No, he did score in that game against Charlotte FC. I mean, LAFC scored 5 goals. You could have I could have easily would have thought of the fact that Orengo had at least scored one of those goals. There was like 5 goals that were scored from LAFC. But yeah, he did not score in this one, though he came close in the 40th minute, but he just set wide from close range. And after the end of the first half, not only it was a scoreless game, but LAFC actually finished the first half with 0 shots on target. That is something that is a rarity this season, especially at home. But that just goes to show you how DC played very well in the first half. They were very defensively organized, and most importantly, as I will talk about in a little bit later in this review, not only they were defensively organized, but they were shutting down those passing lane. And that you wonder after this game that LAFC play against DC United, maybe some people might take a look at how DC, of course, defends, and in some way how Charlotte defend against LAFC, because maybe there's a way where teams could start to figure out how, if they can just shut off the passing lanes, and also shut off the middle of the park, and maybe force LAFC to go wide. Maybe that, of course, would work out. Now, that's easier said to be done, because you're going to have to be very defensively organized, and also you have to hope to sacrifice some of your attacking in a game where you play against FC, and that's something that not every single team is able to do. And heck, coming into the night, I didn't think DC was going to do it, but they really put up to one of the best defensive performance by for tonight, and especially in the first half. But we do get to halftime scoreless, and the second half, Vela hits the side netting from a tight angle. It was definitely not a good night for Carlos Vela. You know, just a night that we barely mentioned his name. In fact, this is I think the only time I of course would mention his name. Or actually no, I would actually would mention his name again. In fact, he was on one of the assist chart there. How in the world did I say that I wouldn't mention his name when he would end up on the assist chart? Also, spoiler alert, of course. But LAFC was continuing to push for an opener. Oh, by the way, Arango also had a free kick shot that was deflected off the wall and goes wide. And when that thing deflected off the wall, yeah, it definitely deflected the wall and then just went wide on the left side. Like that could have easily gone either way. And we've seen times before where goals have been deflected off the wall and it actually ends up into the back of the net, and that almost was the case there. But fortunately for DC, it wasn't. But like I said, LAFC was continuing to push for the opener while DC continues to sit in that tight low block and look to counter there / holding on to this 0-0 draw. Funtas had a chance in the 55th minute, but he hits one straight to Crepeau before Rodriguez tried to curl one in, but he got that one all wrong. And 60 minutes in, LAFC was still had yet to register a shot on goal. And again, all credit has to be with that DC backline. They were not allowing any passing. They were suffocating this LAFC attack, and also maybe a combination of LAFC attack. You know, they kind of realized that, yeah, usually they kind of get going in the second half, and it just haven't been there, and you maybe can sense that there are some frustration from them that they just cannot get going on the attack and cannot break down this low block that DC had. Though they were handed a gift because in the 60th minute, Steven Birnbaum would get his second yellow card off the game. So or second yellow card of the game, and that DC were down to 10 men, and that actually immediately helped LAFC in a way where they finally got their first shot on target in the 65th minute. And while it was a weak shot that goes straight to Ochoa, it was kind of maybe a little bit of a warning shot a bit, because just 2 minutes later, they finally found the breakthrough. It's Mahana Opoku scoring from Arango and Vela, and that is just textbook LAFC attack. Like that is the attack that is the reason why LAFC is leading the supporter shield standings and is the best team in the league, because not many teams that can generate an attack that beautiful like what I saw with the goal that they have. I mean, you could maybe also argue that Ochoa probably could have got to it if he didn't slip on the turf, but still, that was just beautiful full soccer that LAFC play, and yeah, that gave them the breakthrough. But then just 2 minutes later, Funtas actually struck the post from long range, and LAFC almost had a Seattle moment. Remember how I talked about the Sounders after getting that equalizer that they were looking for a very long time, and then they basically fell to the victim of being caught of being too vulnerable whenever they score after you score a goal. LAFC almost had that moment, and they were very fortunate for the post to rescue them there. There was a shout for a penalty for LAFC that was not given. Before, I thought LAFC really took over this game, and they were looking for that second goal to kill this game off. Ochoa was not having it, though, because in the 85th minute, he robbed Blessing as he went for on goal. But there was a pinball action in the DC box, but somehow LAFC cannot capitalize. And then Ochoa would deny Arango from close range in the 87th minute. David Ochoa, of course, getting the start in this game, and it's safe to say that maybe he has won the starting spot for this DC team. I mean, you know, obviously when DC decided to get David Ochoa, this was always the case where he's going to be most likely be the starter, and it's kind of also the reason why Ochoa went to DC, because, you know, he wants to be a regular starter. He wants to continue the growth of his career that has really kind of stalled out ever since he's been sitting on the bench for this RSL team and lost his job to Zach McMath. And in this game, we basically shown why Ochoa, even though he hasn't played for a very long time, he is definitely a very upcoming goalkeeper in this league, and especially for the Mexican national team too. But yeah, you know, he made a big save there and really just keep this DC team in it by standing on his head. But unfortunately for DC, they weren't able to generate any shots in the last couple of minutes. So maybe steal a goal to tie this game up. And in the end, LAFC, despite not playing the best in this game, were able to walk off with a 1-0 win. And you know the old saying, you know, that's what champions do when they of course aren't at their best and they somehow scrap a win. That's what LAFC was in this game. Like again, it wasn't the best performance by LAFC, but hey, at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points, and they extend that lead in terms of the Western Conference and also the Supporters Shield standing. But the shots in this one, 19 shots per the 12 that DC had, 3 shots on goal per the 5 that LAFC had, 6 shots off target per the 8 that LAFC had, 3 shots that was blocked per the 6 that LAFC had, and possession-wise, 61% possession compared to the 39% possession that DC had in this game. And like I said, for DC, no shame in terms of this performance. They definitely will want to keep their head up after just such a great battle that they play in, and even though they did end up on the losing side, for a team that is definitely in see you next season mode, when you of course have these kind of performance, it's definitely considered a win and can definitely boost the morale of this team after this win, or not after this win, but after this performance itself. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. As tomorrow we're going to get 5 more games that's going to be happening in the middle of the week. But unfortunately, I won't be doing the review straight away after the final game because, yeah, I have to do that painful root canal treatment. Well, actually, I wouldn't say it's painful because I did do a root canal before a couple of months ago and it was relatively well. But I have to do it tomorrow, and most likely I won't make a video tomorrow because I'll be pretty much be numb throughout the day. And when I'm numb in the dentist's office, yeah, I can't really speak very well. I'm gonna sound like I'm drunk when I do a video, and you don't want to hear me doing a review while I'm drunk. I mean, that I don't think YouTube will be very happy about that because of the whole certain numerous guideline that they had. But anyway, I will do the review of those games on Thursday as long as a news of the week episode, or actually I wouldn't say a news of the week episode because there hasn't really been a lot of news, but there definitely some news that I'll make a single video, including certain head coach that could be announced for the San Jose Earthquakes as soon as tomorrow. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.